This is John Burnam. I've been at this church now as a member for about 5 years. Prior to that, I first was introduced to Alamo Heights United Methodist Church when I moved back to San Antonio from Nashville. And at that time, we were looking for a church to come to call a church home, and visited. And when we first visited, it was big and it was overwhelming. And having grown up in San Antonio and being fully aware of the differences and the kinds of communities around the city, I am not one to usually get intimidated, but kind of felt like this is not a home for us. And then after a handful of years, had the pleasure to start engaging with the staff, getting to know them a little bit better, really working with them through some difficult times, while also thinking a lot about what makes a church a home for people, what makes a church a community, and how everything we do sort of ties into that theology. So I had a chance to work with people in a professional setting. And that's when I really started to have a different eye around what is Alamo Heights, right? I started to think very differently about who the people are, how they represent what Christ is bringing to the table. And then in about 2020, after having 3 young kids, my wife and I, Nikki, decided that we wanted to start looking for another church community and decided to give Alamo Heights another visit. And the feel at the time was just completely different. And we felt embraced. We felt welcomed. Our children felt welcomed. And it was an exciting time. Unfortunately, it was also 1 month before COVID kicked off. And so we then had to immediately go to the kind of online presence that everyone went through, which is a challenge, especially when you're trying to ground yourself in a new church community. But that's really when I felt like Alamo Heights' team shined, because during that point, as a young family, you're looking for ways to get involved and invested and stay connected with other young families, looking to grow, looking to develop. Brought an idea to Daryl around doing a book study together called The Color of Compromise. And right after we brought that book idea up, everything happened with George Floyd. And so it felt like this is the right time to do that book. Like most churches, it would have been a question around should we do this? Is it controversial? What's gonna come of it? And that's not what happened here. People just jumped in, wanted to explore, wanted to question. We're not necessarily interested in just defending the church for what it has been, but we're more interested in thinking about the church as to where it could go, what it could be, how it could reclaim that sort of prophetic voice. And I think it was really, although we had been here for a little bit prior to that, I think it was in that moment, that sort of level of acceptance, that I really felt like there's something different. There's something special about this community here. And it's just been a pleasure to sort of see that grow and continue to develop since then. I think that's really where I find the most excitement about being around, is that not only is this church a community of people, not only am I excited because I want to come learn on a daily basis, but there's never been a moment at which we've said, hey, we think this is a way that we can love on people more. We can do more for our neighbors in San Antonio. We can capture the voice of the church and new directions and new ideas that the staff has said no to. And I think that's been the part that is not common and not something that I've seen in other church communities that I've been in. The walls, the barriers, the old ways of doing things are not necessarily there. And it's always about, what can we do next? What can we do more? How can we love harder? How can we be the prophetic voice that Christ is calling us to be in the world? And so that's around the way they've surrounded kids, the way people have loved on our kids and our family, the way we're given the opportunity to love on other people and their kids and their families and communities. And that sort of cross-generational connection that is fostered here, that is so important, especially at this day and age now with where we are as people in isolation, that we have a place to come, to be who we are, to care for each other for who we are, and to just explore and experiment in the world.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories from the Seats. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. If you have a story that you think would be great on the podcast, email us at podcasts@ahumc.org. That's podcasts@ahumc.org. To learn more about who we are, visit our website ahumc.org anytime. Any related links are also in this episode's show notes. Again, thank you so much for being a listener. We truly appreciate your time.